So my name is Mae Djachechi. I'm the founder of Divine Times Collective, an organization with a new model for restorative cultural spaces. Yes. I'm a multidisciplinary and multilingual artist and world builder, essentially designing spaces that help people heal from chronic stress worldwide. And a quick shout out to Kevin Way, our new operations manager, who couldn't be here today, unfortunately. All right, please raise your hand if you've ever experienced burnout. Oof, yes, me too. Well, this is not a personal failure of anybody in this room, but a very predictable outcome of a society that prioritizes consumption over people. The world is nothing without creation, but it doesn't value its creators. And data shows this to be true on a biological level. Biological weathering is the cellular deterioration caused by chronic exclusion and systemic stress. And Black people specifically are aging up to 10 years faster than their chronological age in comparison to their white counterparts by simply existing. 10 years. So that is why Divine Times prioritizes repair over consumption. Instead of just theorizing what new worlds could look like, we are drawing upon ancestral knowledge with a modern lens to do so. And the framework guiding this practice is what I call imagination reparation. This is a research-backed container engineered to mitigate the biological effects of weathering through a Pan-African, queer, and trans lens. But make no mistake, this crisis affects everybody. For generations, oppressive systems have forced a hyper-individualistic culture onto every single one of us, suffocating our collective imagination and fracturing our health. Public data actually shows that chronic isolation carries a physical toll equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So this is a shared human emergency, because if the village is unsafe for its most vulnerable, the entire structure fails. That is why Divine Times merges pre-colonial, collectivistic, ancestral technologies such as communal living practices, herbalism, healing through art, dance, and music with modern community psychoanalysis. We design hyper-intentional gatherings to restructure how we all live and relate to one another. And this is how we shift from constant fatal production to deeply acknowledging each other's being. All right, so this is a scalable cultural ecosystem in 3 different ways. First, we have our Pan-Afro Wisdom or POW Festival. And next, we have our healing-centered retreats. And finally, we have year-round programming. So our retreat and festival models have already been successful abroad in Brazil, where I actually produced and translated experiences in collaboration with local organizations, learned Portuguese in a year, yes. Come on, thank you. And if you want, you can join us this November, hit me up. But showcasing multi-city impact through our repeatable system. And we already have interest from our partners in Colombia, Martinique, and Barbados to repeat this experience. Yes, thank you. And the same goes for our year-round programming. We have international online spaces, as well as institutional contexts featuring our work, so there's a lot of room to grow. All right, diving deeper, first, POW Festival. So POW Fest is how we gather. It is our public touchstone. It's reached over 1,000 people over the past 4 years now. The first year reaching 300 people alone. And it's a sober, nostalgic, and joy-filled gathering. From nature-based cultural workshops to performances to mutual aid, we've engaged over 50 local artists, musicians, and businesses, and distributed hundreds of mental health and wellness resources in collaboration with social workers and therapists. Next, our healing-centered retreats. This is how we ground. These are land-based experiences, 3 to 5 intensives, where the deep reparative work happens. So whether we're building and visiting self-made communities in Brazil, Quilombos, or enjoying a lakeside sound bath in the Hudson Valley, each retreat is curated to restore the physiological and psychological agency that daily stress erodes. Now, our year-round community programming includes workshops that we've been developing into a curriculum, screenings, interactive installations, and much, much more. So, it's clear that the current accepted ways of living are only hurting us at a biological level. Well, that means we have to invest in new sustainable worlds today. Now, this summer is our summer of impact. We have PALFest, the 4th annual one, as well as our flagship retreat in the Hudson Valley featuring our artists in residency, Laraji and Omololu. But what does it look like to meet the demand for rest? Well, we are currently over 2 times subscribed for our retreat in July, with over 50 people interested and competing for 25 spots. Of that interest, 52% cited financial barriers hindering them from coming and enjoying this experience. Now, we know financial security is one of the deepest drivers of chronic burnout because it completely robs people of the safety required to rest and reflect. So that results in the need for our sanctuary fund and our partnership model. And this demand was built with near zero marketing spending, just a lot of community trust built over 5 years of our organization. So here's how you can build with us. Well, you can hire us to provide healing-centered retreats, workshops, and custom care programming for your community, and especially your staff and leadership. You can donate to our sanctuary fund, and by providing these foundational investments, you aren't just funding a temporary break, but you're making this imagination reparation framework accessible to the global public, and especially Pan-African, queer, and trans-diasporic visionaries who need it the most. So this extends their timeline of safety and gives them the actual privilege of time to heal. And finally, you can support us by purchasing the first issue of our research-based magazine, supported by the Foundation for Community Psychoanalysis. And I have a few copies with me, limited edition, okay? And our Inner Child Oracle card deck that we just launched as well. So, if there's one thing you remember today, please remember that Divine Times is a new blueprint for restorative cultural spaces. And right now, we're looking for the strategic capital, resources, and partnerships to build the future of restoration together. So you can scan the QR code here to connect with us and dive deeper into those 3 pathways of connection. Thank you so much for listening.